Good morning, folks. Good afternoon. Good evening. I have an extra special interview for today. I have one that, no lie, I've been trying to get on the books for 6 months. We've been lucky enough to interview each of them individually. We've heard their stories, but now we get to have a relationship discussion. If you are in my community, you look at these two, this pair, husband and wife, Jason and Jennifer, as relationship goals. So we're going to uncover how it happened. So let's welcome Jason and Jennifer to the show. How you two doing?
Doing great, Zuber. Thank you for having us on, man. I always love hopping on and talking to you and getting to share and add value to your community, man. So thank you for.
I appreciate it, man. I just listened to your first interview with me. I think it was interview 18, I think, on my channel. It was almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Pretty
man.
crazy.
It doesn't even seem that long, but yeah, I mean, when you look back and it's like you think 3 years have passed, and to see your growth, our growth, you know what I mean? It's pretty crazy to see what can happen in just such a short time span, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to have this discussion is, and I mean this with every compliment, every fiber of my body, people in our network that know both of us point at you two is having the perfect relationship, right? Those two have it made. They're traveling once a month. They're running six-figure businesses. They never fight. They're always smiling. She's putting on her Instagram stories how cute he is, and he's putting on his about how hot he is. It's like, this is crazy. So
yeah,
congratulations.
That's comedy right there.
Yeah, no, it is. I think I'm sure we'll dive into it, but yeah, I think what I would tell everybody and caution everybody is what you see on social media is not always what's really going on behind the scenes. I think it comes from the right place, and we do genuinely. We talk about this, like Jennifer is really like my best friend. Like I do not get tired of like being around her. I don't get tired of hanging around her.
What did you say today? So what did you say you want to do? Merge?
Yeah. So sometimes I want to do like the reverse Siamese twin thing, so where you can be connected all the time. But I do, like, seriously, like I
awesome.
just love spending time with her, and I think we both just So the fact that we can build a business and a lifestyle around all this stuff where we can just do the things that we want to do is just an extra bonus for us, man. But we fight and we do all the stuff like normal people too, man. Yeah, so it's not all fun and games, and
it's not perfect.
It's really ridiculous. Our fights are pretty ridiculous.
Ridiculous,
like just silly. They're not
yeah,
about like
silly,
big,
not
like
serious. Yeah.
Okay. I have to ask. Give us a for example of a Jason and Jennifer fight.
So right now we were just at two properties that we're going to do Airbnbs on, and that's Jennifer's kind of project for this summer. So for the people that don't know, she's a high school counselor. So it's at the time of this recording, it's the 31st of May. So she's getting ready to go into her summer vacation. So she's got a few months off in the summer. And we purchased a new property and we're converting one of our long-term rentals into Airbnbs. And I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to like put your design touch on all this stuff and really kind of help me build out another income stream within our existing business. So we were out there.
Makes sense.
And one of them, we had already finished the remodel. It was an old rental, so it was just a light turn, like flooring and paint. And she was just kind of picking apart like all of the different things that were over there. I do this for a living. Like, trust me, like this is how this is supposed to look. This is it, right? And so there was a little bit of tension because I felt like she was questioning.
I think I was right there.
Expertise.
I think I was right.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like arguing about like silly stuff like that, and I feel like what she said, some of the stuff that we do get into, it's like, why are we even like, why is
that the topic we're on?
Yeah. So anyways, it's
okay.
Maybe we should post on social media like what we fight about,
could you do that once in a while, please? Just us normal people need to see that it's not perfect.
And we should do a vote to see like
who's right.
Who's right? Oh yeah, do that. Oh, that'd be fun once a week. Oh, I'm gonna look forward to those. I'm voting with Jennifer. Jason, you're done.
Yeah, that's
right.
You're smart.
Smart man.
You'll get more interviews that way, I think, if she sees that you side with her, for sure.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, one of the reasons I went back and listened to your first interview, Jason, is because you've done what a lot of people dream of, right? You were in the corporate world. You were climbing up the corporate ladder. You were successful, right? You were good at what you did.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I forget what it was, 14 or 15 years in the business.
Yep.
You decide, this is how it came across in the interview. If you want to rehash it, you can tell me where I'm wrong. But at some point during that, you're like, this is not what I want to do. This doesn't fulfill me. I got to do something else. And real estate became your thing, right? Is that kind of a fair
That's definitely a fair way to put how I felt at that time.
Okay.
I was just at this transitionary point in my life where I was looking around, and I always had that kind of sinking feeling like this can't be what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life. And for whatever reason, I'd always been drawn to real estate, even at a young age. It had always piqued my interest. I had always been intrigued. I had gone down like the bigger pockets rabbit hole a couple different times earlier and really, thought like, hey, maybe this is the time. And then for one reason or another, it just never materialized, right?
Okay.
And I was like 32, 33, and I was just looking around, and you could see the future there, right? Like all the guys that were older, or people that I was working with that were older, like you could just look at them and see, this is what I'm going to be doing if I stick around doing this.
Yeah.
And
looking up the corporate ladder. Yeah. I did the same thing. It's like, dude, I don't want that life. I don't want to be that person, right?
Exactly. Right. And so, we just took a chance, and
I want to stop right there, because a lot of people watching this feel that way. Okay. So then they come home and they talk with their significant other, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. And how does that conversation go the first time? I mean, have you been prodding her along the way saying, not really happy, not really happy? Or did you come home one day and said, honey, I'm done. I've had enough. I mean, and then how do you receive that, Jennifer? It just feels different.
I'll give my recollection of it, and then you can share your side of it. I don't remember it being like one, like, I've had enough, this is it, like I'm done conversation. I think hang
on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, but our very first date. Do you remember our very first date?
I remember going on our very first date.
Yeah. Jason, yes, you remember. Just so you know.
So we're sitting on this bench, we're waiting for our table, right? And do you remember like being distracted on your phone?
Yes, I do remember that. Like I was constantly like, my sales team. Yeah, it was the end of the month, and the sales team was like messaging me and calling me about different things, and we're trying to close the month out.
Yeah.
And I do remember that we're waiting to be seated. Yeah.
So we started dating, and I remember like just telling you, just quit your job. That was one of the jobs. Do you remember
the first job that I had? Yeah. And
so
I found another place, and I think she's always encouraged me, and she knew that I was unhappy.
Yeah.
I feel like, so it was kind of this thing that built over a lot of years, where it just started as like, just this general kind of like unhappiness, and knowing that, I wasn't doing what I was really like put on this earth to do, you know what I mean? And then I think it just built and built and built.
If you're not happy and you're not being fulfilled, then it's time to leave.
And I do feel like, looking back, it 100% projected into just my personal life, our marriage, my relationship with our kids. Like all of that unhappiness then gets pushed out.
Oh yeah.
And everybody else like feels the brunt of it, And so it wasn't like this was what the straw that broke the camel's back moment. It was just like, it was accumulation of all those years and being unhappy, and then finally just deciding like, now is the time. If it's like not now, then it's probably.
And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, then what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Plan B, right? You go back and go back. So Jennifer, I want to ask you, because a lot of people watching this, their significant other, it seems, and I don't mean to, one of the persons in the relationship's more entrepreneurial, and the other is more, I don't know, not. And sometimes that creates tension, right? Because it's different risk reward profiles. So in this situation, Jennifer, he comes home, or maybe it's several conversations. How do you process this? Is it just, hey, honey, I believe in you, go for it? Or do you ask questions about, hey, how much money do we have saved up? How long you can go? I mean, how do you de-risk that situation? Or do you not, you're like, go for it. I mean, did you think about that at all?
I thought he was excited about it. He wanted to do something different. So like, just go for it. Go for it. Dive in. Like, I just have so much trust in him and so much faith in him.
Okay. We did set some parameters though. I feel like I felt like it was a year. I think we had both.
Yeah, you did say a year. I remember that.
It was like a year.
Year, get your dog.
Yeah, it was a year, and then it was like
But even after a year hit, it was still like, all right, I'll give you a little more time.
Yeah. But I think from the beginning, it was the year was kind of the time frame, and then I think we had set ourselves up financially where we could survive. I felt like off of Jennifer's income that she was making, plus some savings and an old retirement account that I had. So it wasn't like we were operating from zero. We had some stopgaps in place, but we didn't do it to the point where it was like, okay, like, we have this much money every single month, and this is like, we didn't have it detail oriented to that, right? We just felt like, okay, we feel like we're in a good spot where we can take a chance, and then we'll just.
But did you have that financial discussion? Because again, something I've learned from you individually is Jennifer is definitely more budget oriented, right? Call it defense. And you're more, I'm just going to make as much money as I can and screw it. Go ahead.
Even as he's saying that right now, he's like, yeah, we didn't have it all worked out. Like, I felt like I had it.
He's like, I got
it. Maybe I definitely did it in my head.
Like, this is totally doable. We knew what our mortgage was. We knew what all our bill was. Like,
I don't want to make it seem like I was just like fly by night, whatever. So like I was financially responsible, but very much our relationship and the really good synergy between myself and Jennifer and offense and defense is the right way to put it. Like I'm really good on the offense, like going out, generating the business, making money, doing that stuff. And she's more of the defense, like, tracking the numbers and being in charge of the finances and that. And we work.
But then there's another piece to it too. I felt like even during that year, I was working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jason was, our kids were little at the time. He was picking the kids up from school.
Yeah.
He was like he still does dishes, but he was doing.
I was cleaning the house.
He was doing all
everything.
that stuff, lightening my load.
I tried to take as many things off of her plate as I possibly could.
I did not know that.
He would do my laundry and he would wash it all.
I wouldn't do her laundry, but I would clean the house and I would do the dishes and I would like craft like kids back and forth, all that stuff. And then I would do my real estate stuff around that because I had the flexibility to do that.
And we're Airbnb one of our rooms in the house at that time.
So we were making a little bit of money from that. Yeah.
And he managed all that.
Yeah.
So again, Jennifer, I just want to make sure people realize this, right? Your husband says he's going to do this. You believe in him. He's going to go for it, but you still kind of planned it out. Like, okay, you had to almost visualize that you could afford it, if that's the right word. You're going to survive or whatever the right word is.
Yeah. There was no question about whether or not financially we could.
But that was important for you, right? You had to take and tie that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now, again, Jason, going back to your interview, I watched it to prep for this. You get your first deal rather quickly. And then there was this big gap between your second deal. I think it was 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, again, maybe the support was there the entire 6 months. I mean, were there any questions about, hey, honey, what's going on? Or was there any peaks and valleys in kind of the financial discussions during that 6 months?
I definitely think it was, you're shaky coming out of the gate always, right? And so it's like when you have no money coming in for 6, 8, 9 months.
And your credit cards are like $30,000 right there at the limit.
And it creates some tension. And I've shared this story with somebody else, but like there was a moment, and I will never forget this moment, like while we were in that kind of valley, that initial, I think it was like closer to 9 months, that 9-month valley that we were going through where there was no deals, no money coming in, no nothing. And I was spending money on marketing and I was working and doing all that stuff, but I just hadn't generated like consistent deal flow. There was a conversation that we had that I'll always remember where, it was Jennifer, you could tell that Jennifer was kind of like losing her patience with me and she was losing just in general. Right? And so we were in our master bedroom at our old house and she just, and she said, and I'll give you the PG version, but she just said, like, listen, if this doesn't work, like, I don't care if you have to go to Walmart and get a job at Walmart, like you need to start making some money. And for a man like me, that's a very difficult thing to hear from his wife. She was right. So I'm not like, I didn't like have any like thing to say to her or anything.
No, of course.
But like to walk away from that conversation, it's like moments like that I can remember where it's like when things are going bad, all I need to do is like visualize going back to Jennifer telling me that. And it's like, that's all the gas that I need.
Yeah. Fuel refilled. I'm going.
Because I don't want to hear that again. You know what I mean? Like, not only do I want to not put her in that situation, like I associate very strongly with being a provider for my family. So it makes me feel good to provide at a high level. So to hear that from her, like was really, it was really gut check time for me, man. You know what I mean? And not very soon after that, things started moving pretty quickly. So it's like, it's moments like that you look back over the years, man, that you can remember things like that were really like those pivotal moments where things really turn the corner.
And Jennifer, do you remember that conversation in the same way?
Yeah, with a lot more curse words though.
There was.
Not the PG version, huh?
Yeah, not the PG version.
But I wasn't mad at him.
No, yeah.
It was just like, come on, let's get the
rolling. It wasn't coming from a place of like disrespect or anything like that. It was just, that's how we talk when we're just talking. Yeah. It was just like, hey, like sometimes I'm going to pat you on the back and other times I'm going to kick you in the butt. And that was one of the ones where, I had to take that on the chin and really realize like, hey, now it's time to really figure this out or figure something else out.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it's still one of those moments you can recall, because this business still has ups and downs. And you're like, you can still close your eyes and go back to that moment.
100%. Like I can remember everything about that conversation. That's how much of a big deal it was for me, especially at the beginning. So yeah, it was.
I remember what I remember is going to work, coming home, and you sitting right there at the desk with just going over everything on the internet. I'm like, I was just thinking, what is he reading?
Yeah.
Like
listening to podcasts and reading. Time. It was like studying podcasts. It's interesting. Like now, there was content back then, but I don't feel like the amount of content that's out right there now, right? And so Bigger Pockets and some other places, this was like 2014 when I started the self-education process. And so I would listen to these podcasts and just like study them like I was back in school and really try to take the information from that. And I could see the perception on her end. It's like, hey, I'm working a job and like you're here on your computer in front. What are you doing all day? You know what I mean? I thought you were supposed to be like buying a house.
Something, it's not working.
I mean? Yeah, like what's really going on? So yeah, it was interesting how that all worked out.
Very cool. So so Jennifer, from your perspective, you know, Jason, I think, called it the Valley. What do you remember about that 9 months? And you know, obviously there was that one day in the master bedroom, but I mean, do you know, just, yeah, what do you remember from that time frame? Because you were going to work every day, he was lightening your load, but you're, you know, what do you remember?
I don't think I remember much of that. Like, I don't remember it the same way that you remember it.
Oh, what do you remember?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I remember moments. Like, I remember the first deal.
Okay.
I signed at Taco Bell.
Oh.
And that fell through.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That was a big one. Yeah. Yeah.
And then how deflated he felt.
Oh.
And then I remember, was it 3 after that?
Yeah. Right after, shortly after.
Yeah. But no, I don't remember the Valley that he does.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it was just because I'm so busy, and I was just like, well, yeah, I keep going. Like,
yeah, just
flowing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's nothing like the way that we talk about real estate in our business now. It was nothing like that. We didn't even have a business back then, so there was nothing really for us.
Know what we're doing.
Right? You know what I mean? Exactly. Like literally had no idea what I was doing or what was going on. So there was not really like.
And it was almost too like shielding like some of the things that like maybe my parents or our parents are, you know, thought we should be doing.
Yeah.
And like, okay, we're just going to choose something different.
Sure. Yeah.
So kind of protecting, not just protecting ourselves, protecting our relationship.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. The other thing that I would say about the two of you, and I don't know that a lot of people see this, I'm thankfully I do, is you two talk about money more than most people I know. And I think that's a wonderful thing, whether it's back at the very beginning, in the middle, now, or in the future. I think it's such a nice blend of offense and defense.
Yeah. And
I think you each are stronger for it. But when did that start? I mean, did talking about money start when you were dating? Did it start after marriage? I mean, let's help people understand.
It was finances was always, especially when we first got together, it was a heated topic of discussion for us because she had a specific way that she wanted finances and bills to be paid. And when we met, this was 2006 when we first got together. Like I was not a financially responsible person.
But you were making good money.
I was making good money, but I was spending it as fast as I was making it, probably more than what I was making, right? So I thought like, you know, like I thought that ride was never going to end.
Of course.
Right. And you know, you're young and you don't know, you know what I mean?
Young
like,
and dumb. Yep.
Exactly. And she was much more strict about like, hey, you know, we need to do this and this is how we should budget and blah, blah, blah. And we were so on opposite ends of the spectrum. We had separate bank accounts. Like her decision and her choice was, I'm not even going to share a bank account with you.
I'm not going to do that with you. I can imagine.
Money. We're going to have our own individual bills that we're going to pay, right?
And there would be expenses. I'm like, okay, you're 50% on this day.
And I don't know that I don't recommend that now. I think like I believe all of our bank accounts are joint and we don't have any of that stuff now. But back then, like I was pretty financially irresponsible. And so I feel like, you know, she needed that to kind of protect herself. I feel like
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And then it's just been to get to the point where we're at now. You said something about, you know, us talking about money. And I think one of the biggest reasons why most people don't get to a point of financial freedom is because they just don't openly talk about how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to pay, like how to manage your personal finances and how to do all of these things. Right.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong way to do it. I think there's all of these different, you know, ideas and programs and things that you can follow, and you just have to pick one that fits for your lifestyle, right? And I think, go ahead.
But we don't have it all figured out right now.
No, we don't have it all figured out. No, we don't have it all figured out.
Growing.
We're still growing and we're still improving. But I think just the fact that you talk openly about it and you're not afraid to talk about wins, losses, and everything in between in your business, right? And I think that's a big reason why we've been able to get to where we're at financially. Because when we first started, we had all the financial issues that I feel like 95% of people deal with out there, right?
More people need to hear this. Yes.
We had the house and the 2-car payments and the 2 kids and everything that comes along with that. All the credit card debt, all the student loan debt, all the bad financial habits. We were in a very, very big hole financially, like just taking
it was normal.
Taking the personal events out of the equation. We probably had like over $100,000 in just miscellaneous debt between student loans and cars and everything that we actually paid that off all during like the first 2 years, which was even more amazing to me when I wasn't making any money. And that was what proved to me. It was like, it's like as soon as you start focusing and having like strong intentions about a certain thing, like where your energy and focus goes, that's where you're going to see progress. And I think we made just a plan to start paying everything down. We eliminated all of that. And then we started from a very solid foundation. And then that's when the business started to increase. We started buying rental properties. We were able to invest that extra income that was coming in, and then it just started compounding.
So Jennifer, I'm going to guess at some point you kind of pulled Jason, right? If you were on extremes, right? Your budget planning, mapping over here. Jason's like, I'll just make as much money as I can, forget it. I'm going to guess Jason's probably much closer to you now than you going that direction. Is that fair?
What do you think?
I think Jason is always focused on like making money, right? You're very, very, very focused on making money. And I'll be honest, like there's some times that I'm just like, okay, the money's there, and I get distracted and I stop asking questions like, how much money's coming in this month? How much are we spending this month? And we have to like pause. Okay, let's reset, and we need to get better at this again.
Yeah. You still talk monthly, right?
We did that yesterday. Actually, we had to pause and be like, look, we kind of got off track. Not with our spending or anything like that, just about not having as many of the conversations.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. And for me, I think that's an important thing, is having those consistent reoccurring communications. And this was a conversation we were having last week. I was like, we have too much going on to not be meeting on a consistent basis, right? And just doing it kind of haphazardly, right? And so another thing that people need to realize is like, you see this stuff on social media, but we're not perfect, right? Like, so even though like our goal is to have these consistent things, like just like everybody else, like life gets in the way. We are enjoying the new house and we're doing this stuff and like yada, 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 yada. And then it's like all of a sudden, hey, we haven't talked about our personal finances in a couple months. You know,
so he's like, hey, Jen, we need to have a meeting. Okay, we need to have
Jason said that?
Yeah. We need to have a meeting. And I was like, I don't really like
Jennifer doesn't like meetings. So I was like, call it whatever you want. I was like, we need to have something. You can
call it whatever you want.
Yeah. So I think it's called connection. We need to have a connection.
Yeah, a picnic. We're gonna have a picnic.
Yeah.
So we went to lunch.
Okay.
And then we had our meeting. He made me download Asana, right? We assigned tasks for the week. Who's gonna do what?
Oh wow. Again, that's what people need to realize, right? I mean, you guys are, I don't know, in the top 1%, 2%, whatever it is, and you came from a spot where you were 100K in debt. That's amazing. And again, just people need to realize it is. Do you think monthly is enough? Like if we said people should have how often?
I don't know. I think maybe to start, it depends on your, for us, it's not enough. That's what that was
too much going on.
Yeah. That for me, I was not comfortable just meeting once a month for an hour or whatever.
No, sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to guess 10 years ago, you would have not had that feeling, Jason.
No, I would just like 10 years ago, like
don't tell me how
which I think is like the sad part about society in general, is that like you just kind of live your life and with this false expectation that everything is going to be okay, right? And just hands off. I'm taking my hands off the wheel. Everything feels like it's fine, and it's like one like wrong event that happens can totally just derail like your whole entire life. And so I feel like you gotta start prepping for that. So once a month is better than nothing, but then you start growing and you get to a point where there's so many different moving pieces and different businesses and things that we're involved in, where it's just not enough. And so that was the conversation that we
for
had.
us, we decided it should be weekly.
Yeah.
Weekly. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And again, a weekly conversation's 30, 45 minutes. Honey, this is what's coming in. This is what's going out. This is a decision we have to make. Do we invest now or invest later? That kind of
it's a combination of tracking all of our personal expenses. So we have a system that we use to track all that. So just coordinating and saying, okay, what money's coming in this month? What bills are going out this month, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's some higher level business planning stuff too, right? And so, just delegating the task and assigning like you're going to do this week. I'm going to do this week. When we meet Sunday, all this needs to be done by this time. And, I guess it's a meeting, right? But I feel like,
a connection.
Yeah,
you've got to pay attention to that type of stuff, I think. And I think that helps.
He was so excited yesterday. He was like, "Oh, this is so good."
I felt so good coming out of that lunch super. I told her, I said, "This is the best that I've felt."
This is the happiest I've been.
Yeah, like I was kind of getting this this sense of dread and worry.
Yeah, you're like apprehensive, right? It's like
exactly. And so
I don't know. It's like
and get back on track. Yeah.
And sometimes I think he thinks that I don't want to talk about it.
I don't think that you don't want to talk about it. I think that when we don't talk about it, it keeps me in this state of like, we're maybe not possibly on the same page about certain things. So at least if we can just connect, even if it's just an hour once a week to just say, here's what I'm thinking, here's what's going on, you know what I mean? And that just keeps us aligned. I think alignment is very important to us in different areas of our relationship. And I just need to have that time. That's the way that my personality works. I need to have that time to connect and make sure that we're both moving and growing in the right direction.
I think that is wonderful. I think more and more families should do that. I mean, if you're not doing it, do it monthly at least. If you have just the amount of stuff that you two have going on, I think weekly connections on Sunday is awesome. And tying in a date night or an event around it as well is, it's a business write-off. So I think when I look at the two of you, I love the highlight reel. Again, I love the fact that it's not perfect. I love you're going to do posts now that ask us to vote on who's right. I just want to remind you that you have to do that.
Fine. I don't need to win those.
I want to legitimately win. So
okay, good.
Yeah, it's going to happen, Jason. You're going to lose. It's just going to happen. And then the fact that you talk money, the fact that you support each other. I guess I have a question I didn't think I was going to ask. So Jennifer, you're going to try this Airbnb thing.
Yeah.
Right. Which it's that 711 house, right? That's the second one you said, Jason, right? The rental. And then you just bought one that was all junk in it. That's the second one.
Yeah, that one. That's the second one. So we just bought that one, and then we're converting an existing long-term rental. So
Jennifer's going to do the design, buying the furniture, all of that stuff, and kind of do the management, or what are we doing?
I don't know how we're going to deal with the management yet. I think this isn't our first go around with Airbnb. So I've done this. I'm familiar with the platform. I was, renting a room out in our house when I first started as just a way to bring in a couple extra $100 a month. And so I've done it before. What has always been a hesitation for me has been handling the turns and the management. And is the extra potential money worth the time and effort that it's going to take to deal with that? And what happens?
You let me know, because I don't believe it is, but I see all those numbers.
So it's like I and we know all the same people, and then I met other people, right? And so I see these numbers and I'm like, all right, these guys are making it work. Like, here's an opportunity for us to try. Like, what's it going to hurt? Both
try
of these
for 3 months doesn't matter.
Really, really safe.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
but I will say we've had this on the way home. The conversation. Well, what if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
We had that conversation right now too.
And what's the? I mean, we just sell the stuff on OfferUp, and then we just make.
Or you could always rent it furnished. You could do month-to-month furnished. That happens.
Yeah. So there's all these different options. Okay. So for me, the downside is like just the time and potential money that we've got into it. You know what I mean? But at least I need to know. That's another thing.
Oh, for sure.
Personality works. It's like, okay, I see this enough. I keep hearing it come up. I got to know. Mm-hmm. And this is another good example.
I agree.
I don't know exactly who's going to be doing what, but I think that should not stop us from going. Like, we can just go, start the furnishing, start the rehab, start all the things that we can do right now. And then we can figure out
I want to push back on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I heard you say earlier, this is Jennifer's thing. So you ain't picking out shit.
There you go. See, I knew I liked him.
I in a perfect world for me. And again, like, this is one of the things, and I'll be honest with you, man, like, there's some times where I've had some bitterness towards Jennifer because at the beginning, she did play such a humongous support role,
Oh,
and our roles were very clear. Find her job. You go be a high school counselor. You bring money in. You're going to support the family. I'm going to try to build this business, right? And that worked well for the first couple of years. And then year 3 and 4, where I really my trajectory started to really take off.
Yeah.
We got to a point, Zuber, where it's like we personally, her and I owned like 17 rentals. I was flipping 3 or 4 houses a month. I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have anything. I was wearing every single hat. I was self-managing all the properties. I was managing all the rehabs. I was doing everything. And I just got like I was really bitter with her because I was saying like, listen, like, I don't think you understand the scope of like what's happening within our business. And we're no longer at a point where you cannot like contribute and be involved in what we've got going on.
Thank you for everything you did at the beginning, but I need more.
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't understand, and he was doing it. I looked like he was doing okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If he didn't tell you, I mean, I tell Olivia all the time, I don't read minds. I don't have that gift. I wasn't given that.
Yeah.
So last summer, that's when you handed over the house to me.
Yeah, we made some internal changes with the employee structure. So it's been almost exactly a year. It was June of last year where Jen took over the management component of our personal rental properties.
Sure.
And like really like just delegating, working with the team members that we have to make sure that those are running good. And for a year, our rental portfolio has never performed better than it has in the last year, as far as like from vacancies to, you know, the amount of rents that are being collected, all the things that used to irk me so much about it. She's done a great job of doing that. And so this Airbnb thing, to your point, I do feel like it should kind of be Jennifer's thing. Like, that's me. Like, I want to be involved and see it, but like, I feel like, okay, this is going to be your baby right now. Like,
no, she needs to go to the store. She needs to pick the stuff.
Here's the money. Here are all the resources to do it. Like, I could not have teed this up for you like any easier. Right now, it's like, now I'm going to hand the ball.
I don't. Let's come on now. It's not going to be easy. Let's not pretend like it's a ball on a tee. But yeah, I think it's her baby.
It's not easy. I don't want to make it seem like that, but I feel like my thing is like, this is
you did your part.
I got it to this point. Now I'm giving you the ball, run with it and take it across the finish line.
Totally get it. And you're going to now revert back to supporting her like she supported
100%. Yeah. And I'll be there in that kind of support role. Now this is like your opportunity.
Honey, show me when it's done. I'll come by and take some pictures.
I need to be able to ask him questions.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about this? And sometimes you don't have an opinion, but I want you to have an opinion.
I think sometimes, to me, it's actually the opposite. I feel like sometimes we actually have very strong opinions that are opposing to the whatever topic.
I just want you to have an opinion.
And I've got to learn that like my communication style is very direct, very aggressive, and that does not work well with her. So I've got to learn how to, temper that.
I stopped hearing everything.
Yeah. So
all of it.
We should do what is it? It's May 31st. In 3 months when she goes back to school, let's do a recap video of this.
Of the summer, yeah.
We'll share our experiences and all the ups and downs of like how everything went, so that the audience can follow along with that journey.
I'm hearing when you say that, you better get your ass to work. Hurry up.
I don't think you said that.
I don't remember any of that. Yeah, it's like I don't
think you said that. That's not fair.
None of that what I just said says anything. So again, like we're sometimes
there's a filter transition going on here. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, that's good. That would be fun. I'd love to hear that. I guess the one thing I didn't know if I was going to ask Jennifer, but I will. When do you quit? When do you not go to your date? When do you stop? Or do you just love it and you do it for free, or what's going on?
This is a constant conversation. We talked about it yesterday. I mean, very often nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm still fulfilled with my job, right? I still think that like I have been put in that place to impact kids.
Okay.
Jason tells me you can do that in other ways.
I was just going to say that, but go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be right for me to quit mid-year. So if I dive into August, then I'm going to make it through another year. And then
so you're going to quit in the next month is what you just said.
Nothing would make me happier than if I don't want to say that.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I do know that once I do, and once I dive in, that will propel our business much faster.
Oh, I think I guarantee you there are pieces of this business, and I think Airbnb could be that answer that needs that more, because I think a lot of the world is, there's offense and defense and everything. I think Airbnb is definitely more defense, right? Once you secure the asset, it's kind of just a process, right? And that's in my mind, kind of like defense.
It's deeper than me just being fulfilled. Like and he'll tell you, like, I have so much other baggage that comes with that, right? So I don't want to spend money not knowing that, like, I'm bringing in some money as well.
She wants to feel like she's contributing, and I think she has some limiting beliefs and things that are holding her back as far as just her self-image. I feel like her self-image has been so attached to being a counselor, right? Before that, right? But I think she spent her whole life, like, one of the things that Jennifer was very fortunate to have, she knew very early on, like, I want to do this. I want to be a high school counselor. Because her high school counselor was so impactful in her life, right? Which I never had. Like, I didn't, like, I spent like.
I couldn't even tell you who my counselor was.
Yeah, right. And so for me, like, I think she struggles with letting that go, and then being like, oh, I'm Jason's wife, right? And like, I'm his wife in this business, and that's not a role that I think she's okay with. And what I'm telling her is, I'm not looking for you to be my wife. I'm looking for you to boss up and be my partner. And you're a co-owner in all of this stuff.
I think Jennifer Pritchard is her own brand, and I think
100%. And she just needs to step into that. I'm waiting for her to step into that. And
there's moments where I do step in.
Yeah, you have, and you've done a great job of doing it. It's just.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. It's there. It'll get there, and I know she's got her process, and she's got to do it.
It'll come this summer. I'm just going to put it out there. It'll happen this summer. That way, you don't get into next school year.
But something that I don't like is not being great at something. Like, I'm a great high school counselor right now, and then whenever I jump into something new, I'm not going to be.
And what I would say is, you're never going to be great at anything that you've never done before. So the expectation, my expectation isn't for you to come and be a great business partner to me. There's going to be a learning curve, right? And the only way that you do it is by just, for me, jumping in and doing it, right? And we have this we're so fortunate that we're operating with this safety net where it wasn't like when we first started, where if we make one mistake, like, it's all over. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. So it's like, why wouldn't we try it right now? You know, just like you said, you can impact kids and do the things that really fulfill you. We can find an avenue for you to do that along with doing
I want to tell you, impacting kids is a big deal, but there's lots of ways that you can be a lot more impactful than the guardrails of a high school counselor.
I agree.
You can impact a lot more people. You can impact kids that aren't in high school, right? That have had decisions where they haven't gone, and that could become your brand going forward. I mean, the things that you could do, not only in the business of real estate, but just the impacting of Fresno County kids, Jennifer, I think you're underselling what you could be doing very quickly.
I agree. I think she's operating with handcuffs on herself right now. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. She needs the rigor or structure of the school, maybe?
I need structure. Oh, yes, absolutely. I need structure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it is. And I'm like that too. So I could see how, okay, I'm coming out of this where everything is kind of pre-planned and predefined. Now I've got to define everything going into it and just figure it out. That's
how many kids do you think you impact a year, Jennifer? Dozens?
Oh, yeah.
No, more than that. Hundreds. What's your caseload over there?
Well, I have like 350, 320 on my.
But do you really connect with 350?
No, you don't. No, I don't. Yeah. Okay. So I would say, like, strong connections. I mean, probably with like 50 kids, you definitely have strong connections with.
So I know this for a fact. With what you could be building in 90 days outside of just the high school structure, you could be impacting hundreds of kids a year.
I agree.
And with the spider web of connections that you guys already have, and you would get, it would become national very quickly.
I told you. I told her, man. I'm just waiting for her to embrace this. That's it. I can't. All I can do is, she was so supportive of me that I wouldn't feel right, like, pushing her and making her do something. I want her to know that.
That's okay. I'll do it for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Go nuts.
I agree. Yeah, I think that she could be very impactful on a much larger scale once she.
The way that my brain works is just like so silly. When you start off as a counselor, right? You have this caseload. You have these kids. My seniors are graduating this year. I have sophomores right now.
Sure.
And then I told him yesterday, I was like, I got to get this class through 2 more years. And he said, what about when the next class comes?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a never ending thing. Like she's all, I just need 2 more years. And I said, what about the kids that you connect with that are freshmen this year that you've built a 2-year relationship with? And then it's, to me, and I told her this in a nice way yesterday. I said, you're just looking for a reason and an excuse, frankly, to push this off because you're uncomfortable, right? And so instead of doing that, let's get down to like what the real root issue is, which are the things that we discussed, and then really decide, like, you know, hey, what are we going to do to get there? And like, not, you know, keep coming up with a reason why.
Yeah.
It's not
I think what, again, the little I know of you, Jennifer, I'm just going to say it and you can hate me for it later, but what really gets you going is impacting children, kids.
Yeah.
And I believe with every fiber of my body, you could double or triple the amount of kids you impact outside the structure you're in with the platform of Jennifer Pritchard or whatever that becomes.
Yeah.
It's right there for you. You've got it. And yeah, you have that special thing. So I look forward to seeing what you create this summer.
Thank you.
So as we close out with this, I'd love to talk about what you guys are doing going forward. Again, everybody looks at you two as the relationship goals, the thing. You're talking about money weekly. We've already talked about. She supported you early. Now you're supporting her. You're doing bigger and bigger things. Let's talk about how you enjoy life. I know you have a very special 40th birthday trip coming up.
Yeah.
That's a little more than most.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I turned 40 last week, and one of my bucket list items is always to do an overwater bungalow.
Yeah.
We've been looking at different places, and I think we've talked about this, maybe not in depth, but Jennifer was the one that actually turned me on to this. Before we were ever doing real estate, she was always big on leveraging credit card points, even just in our personal.
Yeah.
So we would always put everything on certain credit cards, pay the card off in full every single month. It would just be stuff that we would normally buy, and just use those points and eventually use those to help us with discounted travel, because we were traveling not at the level we're at now, but even when we first got together, we were finding ways to travel, right?
Cool.
And you know, now we rack up a significant amount of points every month just through our different businesses. It's like, I think like over 100,000 points. And so we cashed in a big chunk of points, and we're staying in overwater bungalow and doing 10 days in the Maldives for my 40th. And I think we're going to go to Thailand for her 40th is in October. And
but that story's funny.
So then, we'll tell the story in a little bit, but we're talking about my birthday now. So my birthday, we're going to Maldives for my birthday. So yeah, it's in a couple weeks we're going to go, and it'll be interesting. It'll be like a vacation that we haven't done before, because it's like, once you get there, like you're there, like there's nothing. You're on the little island, and then that's it. So it'll be a different pace of vacation, because we do like to get out and do stuff and like go around. And so this will be nice, man. Fully unplugged, just chill.
Jason, I think what's going to happen during that is you're going to uncover what Jennifer is going to to very quickly, because you're going to be out of it.
We'll have a lot of time for our meeting over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Connections.
Yeah,
connections.
Yeah.
But I guess closing this out, again, relationship goals. I think it's very, you two have it. What would you say are the 2 or 3 keys? Each of you, maybe, what are 2 or 3 keys that you think makes your connection just work?
What I can say about us, I'll share one that pops up immediately, is I genuinely believe like we're best friends. Like that's first and foremost. And I think that is, I don't see that in a lot of other relationships, right? And I was very fortunate that I was able to marry my best friend. And so we're not like, we don't not get tired of hanging around each other. And I have some friends and family, like buddies and stuff, where it's just like they're looking for an excuse to get out of, like, away from their wife. And I feel it's sad, man. So I feel like, we are friends first, and we're very intentional about doing things.
Mine is actually going to be like spending time together.
Yeah, we're very intentional about structuring and living our life, and having our businesses and different things support our lifestyle in a way that allows us to do the things that we want, right? So we build with that goal first, instead of build, make a bunch of money, and then, we like work for 3 years and we never take a trip anywhere, right? Like we always make a point to do the stuff that I know is going to fuel our marriage and our relationship first. That's a priority. And then everything else builds into that. So I think that's a big one for us.
That's it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We like together.
You like spending, and that's, I'm going to guess that was instant even before you were married. You just clicked.
We did. I mean, it was a more volatile, I think. It wasn't where we're at now, but
that first night though. I mean,
we did. There was a very strong connection from the very beginning. It took us a few years to like navigate all the stuff that you navigate when you're first.
We knew we wanted to be together.
Yes, I did. And then we stuck it out. We had a lot of ups and downs, especially at the beginning. And the thing that my dad always told me about relationships was you got to grow together. I don't know why that stuck with me, but for whatever reason it did. My parents got divorced when I was a teenager. And one of the things that he told me was me and your mom, we just grew apart. Like we were very close when we got together. And then after we got married and as our marriage, started to like age, we went like this, right? And we've done a good job of, as we've grown, even if we've separated a little bit, we've always come back together. And both of us have both made it a priority if we feel kind of a disconnection or something like that, a reset and get back together.
When you have that bitterness.
Exactly, yeah. And we've got you, and that starts with being open and honest and being able to communicate with each other openly and being able to share and not like hold back, right? And so, I don't know. It's just a work in progress, man. Like
apologizing is a really big one.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Like apologizing when we mess up or do something stupid.
Jennifer apologized to me for the first time 13 years ago, like 6 months. It did like our whole relationship. Jennifer has a very big problem apologizing. I don't have a problem.
We're both very stubborn, stubborn.
Jennifer does not like to admit when she's wrong, and she doesn't like to say sorry. And so I've broken down her wall after 14 and a half or 14 years or however long it's been. And now she's gotten better at it, but it's
not
it's like, I'm sorry, not a, sorry. She sneaks it in really quick.
Oh, this is awesome.
Spending time together. Yeah. Appreciating each other.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I thank you so much for doing this together. I thought this was so much fun. Hopefully people take away, again, talk about money, support each other, talk, best friends. Lots of great stuff today. Thank you guys.
Appreciate you, Zuber.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.